You're standing in your kitchen. You pick up a yogurt from the fridge. The flavor looks good, the seal's intact, everything seems fine. But then you glance at the date printed on the lid, expired 3 days ago, and suddenly you hesitate. Is this safe? Could it make you sick? Or is that little date just a suggestion? Here's the thing, that date might not mean what you think it means. Every year, Americans throw away over 80 billion pounds of food. Not because it's spoiled, not because it tastes bad, but because of a date printed on the package. And most of the time, that food was perfectly fine to eat. So where did these dates come from? What do they actually tell us? And why do we trust them more than our own senses? Let's start with a simple fact. For most of human history, food didn't have dates on it at all. Your great-grandmother didn't check a label before drinking milk. She smelled it. If it smelled sour, she didn't drink it. If bread had mold, she cut it off or threw it out. People relied on their senses, on experience, on common knowledge passed down through generations. Expiration dates only became common in the 20th century, and it wasn't because of safety, it was because of scale. When food started traveling hundreds of miles, sitting in warehouses, being sold in giant supermarkets to millions of strangers, manufacturers needed a way to manage quality. They needed to know how long their product would stay fresh on a shelf, and they needed to protect themselves from lawsuits if something went wrong. So dates were introduced. But here's what most people don't realize. Those dates were originally about quality, not safety. That's a huge distinction, and it's where almost all the confusion begins. Because there isn't just one type of date. There are actually three, and they mean completely different things. Best before means the food might start losing flavor, texture, or freshness after this point, but it's usually still safe to eat if it's been stored properly. Think of it like a guarantee of peak quality, not a warning of danger. Use by is different. This one is actually about safety, and it's used mostly for highly perishable items like fresh meat, seafood, or dairy. After this date, bacteria can grow to levels that might make you sick. And then there's sell by. This date isn't even for you. It's for the store. It tells the retailer how long to keep the product on display. It has nothing to do with when the food becomes unsafe. So when someone says, this food is expired, they could be talking about three completely different things. And most of the time, they don't even know which one. Now here's the part that surprises people. In most countries, including the United States, manufacturers decide these dates themselves. There's no federal law that requires most foods to have an expiration date, and there's no standard system for how those dates are chosen. Companies test their products under controlled conditions. They look at temperature, packaging, storage time. Then they pick a date that guarantees the product will still meet their quality standards. But that doesn't mean it's the last safe day. It just means it's the last day the company is confident you'll have the best possible experience. To avoid complaints and lawsuits, many companies choose conservative dates. They build in a safety margin. That means the food usually lasts longer than the label suggests, sometimes much longer. Canned goods, for example, can last years beyond their printed date if the can isn't damaged. Dried pasta, rice, honey, chocolate, all of these can remain safe to eat long after the date on the package. The date affects quality, not safety. But here's where it gets tricky. Should you just ignore expiration dates completely? Not exactly. For fresh meat, seafood, and unpasteurized dairy, those used by dates do matter. These are foods where harmful bacteria can grow quickly, and eating them after the date could genuinely make you sick. But for most other foods, your senses are often more reliable than a printed number. If something smells off, looks moldy, or has a strange texture, trust that. Those are real signs of spoilage. A date on a package is just an estimate made months ago under ideal conditions. Your nose and eyes are giving you real-time information. The date is a guide. It's not a switch that turns food poisonous at midnight. Think about it this way. A carton of milk doesn't know what day it is. It doesn't suddenly become dangerous the moment the calendar flips. Spoilage is a gradual process, not an event, and it depends on how the food was stored, how often it was exposed to warm air, whether it was sealed properly. So the next time you see an expired date and feel that urge to throw something away, pause. Ask yourself, does this actually look or smell bad? Or am I just reacting to a number?